This is really important because the two parties establish a shared secret over an unsecure channel. In other words, they're able to start communication. And so when we talk about ways that allow, and to Alex's point earlier, that public and private, and also what Phil was saying, that key exchange and being able to understand it without giving away the secrets, right? That's really the point, because people will listen. And as they listen, they might be able to interpret, break the code, or find a way to trick us into breaking it for them, right? So we really have to look at the entire piece as we talk about this. And the point of this one is really because it was groundbreaking and is still used, right? When we talk about protocols like SSL and TLS for web communications, but also IPsec, VPNs, SSH for secure shell and other remote access and control. The point is we have to utilize these different pieces in the best way possible. And
it's
given
worth pointing out
how hard it is to do. Go ahead.
It's worth pointing out with Diffie-Hellman that everything here is based on this concept of being able to share this public key and being able to quickly compute, knowing the other party's public key and your own private key, being able to quickly compute a shared key out of that can then encrypt the session. It's really important to understand that it's supposed to be fast for the people who are actually using it legitimately, and really, really difficult computationally for anyone who's just listening and eavesdropping and capturing this public information. And the problem is that with enough computing power, or maybe some weaknesses in the implementation of the protocol in use, it's actually not impossible. And then maybe it is computationally hard today, but maybe 10 years from now or sooner, with the advent of quantum, suddenly things that were really difficult to compute suddenly stop being difficult to compute. And that's part of what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, that's really the goal, is to understand that.
Yeah. Just, there are algorithms today, Shor's and Grover's algorithms in particular, that are designed to attack this very construct. And that's why you have the U.S. government moving forward and directing both public and private sector entities to take a PQC lens to their critical high-value assets and understand how they use cryptography and what services are exposed to potential attack.
Yeah, do you want to explain PQC a little bit more, Phil? Because we're going to go there later, but you mentioned it, and now you got to talk about it.
Sure thing. Yeah, so PQC, or post-quantum cryptography, is essentially an upgraded version of classical cryptography that utilizes lattices and tries to create or restore the balance of power between compute and math or mathematical algorithms. It is different from quantum information sciences, or QIS technology, in the sense that it still runs on classical computing today, doesn't require specialized hardware or environments to operate. It is just a more robust and resilient form of encryption and mathematics that should be safe to use in the threat or in the face of a cryptographically relevant quantum computer. And so 3 candidates have been released from NIST earlier this year, and there are more to come. NIST is looking at this being a perpetual cycle of release based upon the growing investment and capabilities in the quantum computing space. So as quantum computers get more stable qubits, we should see more newer and newer quantum-safe algorithms being released in ahead or preparation for those discoveries. QIS is essentially quantum information sciences, or the actual application of quantum physics in technology. And it is dramatically different from how we compute and process today. And so that's a little bit out of scope for the nature of our discussion today, but that is the difference between post-quantum cryptography and quantum information sciences.
That's awesome, Phil. Thank you. And to put it in a nutshell, what we're really concerned about is, to what Alex pointed out, 5 years from now, where will we be? Will it be that the communications that we're sending now are all encodable or unencrypted by those devices, right? Can they guess the key? And that's really what it comes down to, because when we look at these basic components inside of it, plain text is the message, right? Before we've done anything with it. Ciphertext is the encoded message once we've done all the magic to it to encrypt it. And using the two different sets of math, the encryption algorithm and the decryption algorithm, to actually get to those two pieces, and then be able to encrypt based on a key. So if you imagine that key was something that you could guess easily if you had the right computer, if you had a quantum capability to actually guess much faster, or to actually leap ahead and get directly to the answer, right? That's the problem. And so when we look at methodologies, it also has to be real world. We have to be able to decrypt that message in the real world today, assuming that somebody will build something to be able to crack it soon. So the point is really to take it to that next level and come up with something today that would then apply for the new ways and methodologies they will attack us later, right? So really trying to use these components and protect these components in new ways. That's really important as we go forward. And today, using really good methodologies across the board, when necessary, going up to the level of encryption required to actually protect the system. That doesn't mean we have to wait for it. We can start now.
I'd like to quickly add, we talk about a problem that might realize, a capability that might be realized in the next 5 years. But the problem is, the approach is not to wait until that event happens. The approach now is to get a better understanding of, once again, your potential exposure. Where and how are you using encryption today, if at all? And is it effective? And is it potentially at risk based upon the type of encryption that you're utilizing? And so we very rapidly have to get an understanding of our baseline, our cryptographic baseline. As cyber professionals, this is a key area of activity that you start with any given boundary. You get an inventory, you get a baseline and an understanding, and then from there you plan a modernization or remediation approach to the findings. And that's the key first start in this problem space, so that when the event occurs, when a cryptographically relevant quantum computer is achieved, you are ready to respond or have already put in place effective mitigations
Today, so we can use these things in the real world, right?